Hello everyone, and welcome back to Divinity: Original Sin. As promised, I'm bringing you back now at a point where I'm reasonably confident that I might be okay with this fight. I haven't won yet, so I might still get killed, but I'm hoping it'll turn out okay. It's actually the first try I did, since I got completely obliterated that first time on camera. Which I hope I didn't cut that out, but I'm fairly certain I didn't, so it should be fine. So I think one of the main points is that as you begin the fight, Brachus opens up with a massive fireball volley attack. And that is particularly nasty. So the thing I did, which I would recommend to everyone, is Jahan has a skill which makes a target immune to burning. And it also gives... He doesn't have it by default, by the way. I bought it for him. But it makes the target immune to burning and gives additional fire defense. So what I did is I buffed Strange with that and just ran in with Strange alone. The rest of the party was hanging behind slightly. So Brachus Rex opened up with that attack. He only hit Strange. But because of the increased fire defense and his immunity to burning, it didn't really do much. It maybe took off 25% of his health. The two times I ran in, actually the one time, I don't know, may have tried twice? No, I tried twice and then quick loaded after I saw the initial attack go very badly. So technically this is the second time I actually tried off camera. But yeah, if you get unlucky and that initial attack hits your entire party, you can suddenly stand there with everyone being at about 25% health and burning, so that's particularly nasty. And if you just send in one guy who's immune to fire damage, or rather who's got a high resistance and is immune to burning, then you can change that initial attack from particularly nasty to reasonably survivable, so that's good. And now I think I'll just swing at him a few times. Not certain it'll give me the victory, but it might. I only need one more attack and I have a good hit chance. And a second attack if this one misses, actually.
And that is the final end of Brachus Rex. May his soul remain in the depths of hell for good.
Okay. And, yeah, I don't know why this target group thing is too far away. Happens all the time. I don't quite know what the reason is, but it's okay. Let's start off by putting everyone back into a comfortable amount of health. I'll also put down some rain. I know it's terrible for my video size, and it's also fairly bad for my frame rate. It definitely costs me 3 or 4 frames per second. The game having to render all the rain. I'd rather not die now from a fire surface, because that would just be humiliating. Incidentally, the other guys that spawns, because he calls in the 3 bosses that we fought before, the Baron of Bones, the Twins by Fire Joint, and the Ghoul that guards the lighthouse. None of those are particularly nasty, actually. I don't know if they actually have reduced health, or if it's just because I leveled up further and became stronger, but they really didn't hurt me very much at all. They went down very quickly. Sadly, I didn't quite manage to get a level up from that, but they really... yeah, they really went down very, very swiftly. And then Brachus himself... I know that if you read... why would I say read? If you take too long in the fight, then that attack which he opens up with, that huge fire blast thing where he puts multiple fireballs into your party's faces, it has a cooldown and he can use it again in a battle, which you probably don't want to happen. If it starts at the very beginning, you know it's his first attack, so you can prepare for it. I don't know the exact cooldown, so I could not prepare for the second time he uses it, because I wouldn't know exactly when to buff up against fire, for example. and when to spread out the party and make sure only one tank gets hit. I should probably do the level up, I guess. Okay, another attribute point. I'm actually okay. Jahan isn't so much a damage dealer, so I don't necessarily need to improve only his intelligence. I would be okay with improving something like speed, because that should give him the action points. Each turn should be improved. Okay, that point isn't enough. That 1 point still only gives me a bonus of 2 to my action points per turn. But I think eventually, if I spec speed higher, it'll give me the option. Or rather, it'll make it so that I get more action points per turn, which to me is somehow more relevant than the starting action points, because especially the tougher boss fights drag on a while. So the starting points aren't so important. In a short fight, the starting ones are more important, because obviously that's the ones you start out with, and if the battle only takes 2 or 3 turns, the majority of the action and the threat of a fight happen in the first turn. So you really want to maximize your opportunities and your damage output potential in the first turn. But if a fight drags on, it becomes more important to be able to act consistently and do a lot of spells or actions, movements, whatever per turn, instead of trying to basically dish out a ton of damage in the very first turn, because that doesn't work against long fights, basically. Okay, ability points. Again, I will wait. There's nothing I can really think of that I particularly need to have on Jahan. I mean, I might improve crafting or blacksmithing if it becomes necessary, but I'll just keep the points as a sort of backup in case I find a good use for them. And the rest of the party should be close-ish to a level up. Yeah, we're fairly close. And I can talk to both Beardaughter and Jahan, so I guess I'll do that now. You did see some action. Come on, you saw like the final turn of a boss fight. If I'd known how well that went, I would have shown it on camera, but in my experience, the first time I tackle boss fights, and this is the first one that I have not tackled in my private playthrough yet, or rather I have once and died horrifically. So I thought this fight would be a lot harder than it turned out being, so I decided, I'm just going to fail a few times and not show that, because, you don't want to see me die against the boss 5 times in a row. If I'd known it went that fast, I would have recorded it, but alas, it wasn't meant to be. So, yeah, you did see that in the end of the fight. In the fight, there wasn't actually... Well, it was the fight, which might be interesting, but there was no dialogue or anything like that, so that's okay. It is strange, Source Hunter. I have heard many tales of Brachus Rex, the Radiant Ruler, and King Brachus, boon of our blighted land. How can it be that the stories sang him a hero, when he was in fact an evil tyrant? I don't know. You see, the thing is, everything we've heard about the guy was negative, so... Then again, power corrupts. Maybe he was a good guy in the beginning. Let's just, I mean, he is saying perhaps, so I could agree with this sentiment. Brachus may have seemed wicked to us, but there are many sides to every story. Perhaps at one time he was the great ruler you heard of. And I'll just disagree on charm, because I kind of see the point of both arguments there. I couldn't say which one is correct, because, well, we don't know enough, basically. I find that unlikely. Histories are little more than the propaganda of their writers, after all. But you cannot think that all the stories of old are fiction. What about Thriss? What about Amira? And the cycles of the elven bards? If they are false, if they are written by power, as you say, what good are they? I suppose the song of our world would be quite different if it were written in summer or in winter, and I believe the same might be said of our histories. The pictures they paint may be incomplete, but they are not false. Okay, and Jahan. The king is dead. Long live, well, not he. He came close though, Brachus Rex, close to fulfilling his dream. Dormant he would lie until loyal followers that persisted through the centuries would restore him to life afresh. As a ghoul no more was he reborn, exactly the type of base necromancy I abhor. But now that he is dust at our feet, I can't help but feeling a morsel of pity. The work of ages, the desire beyond death we undid with a simple stroke of the sword. Well, 3 strokes actually, that you saw on camera. Yeah, I mean, striving for eternal life by itself, I would say, isn't morally objectionable. The thing is that really he was a bad guy who came back from death, and it tends to be the bad guys coming back, not the good guys. But yeah, it is true that if he weren't a dangerous sorcerer, his resurrection might have been a thing of beauty. Indeed. Too bad they were after this abomination, not some kindly sorceress. A blessing to the land. Yes, well, something along those lines. Life, it is such a precious commodity. So precious indeed that death is dealt in droves to merely postpone it, to make it cross the boundaries set by nature. There is much simple irony to be found in these exploits, but at the heart of it lies an equally simple endeavor, which is to overcome the most primal of fears, the dread that prompts philosophy and religion both, and that is the fear of death. To overcome death, if it be possible, is to attain victory over the unconquerable. Such a victory, what a thing of beauty it would be. I don't fully agree with that sentiment, but I can see his point at least. Death is not... oh, Burning Blaze skillbook, that's cool. I can't think of a reason why death should be accepted as an irrevocable part of the natural order. I would say it may well be that, well, death is currently unavoidable. It's not necessarily something that would be unnatural to avoid. If it's possible to... here's a picture of a woman, apparently. If it were possible to avoid death altogether, maybe that would be... that would be something worth striving for, and not necessarily by itself an act of evil. Oh, and another inert stone. Those are the Starstone, or rather what's left of Starstones, I guess, after they've lost their power, maybe? We need a few of those, so... scaled scraps. Probably a crafting ingredient. Chest of the Source King. Can we open this? It's locked. Why does it say door? That's not a door. I'm going to guess I can't bash it open. Yeah. I did buy a bunch of lockpicks if I remember correctly. Let me just pull those down on my bar. Okay, this lock can't be picked. Conveniently enough, the game still took away my lockpick, but... okay, so... I don't know, maybe I'll find something... anything here? Just a few bone piles, nothing really worth mentioning. Wait, what? Where does this want to go? I've killed Brachus Rex. I suspect it's shining, it's sort of lighting up because it's telling me that that's the way to get out of here. Because I supposedly, well, I could walk back, but I suspect the game's trying to tell me that I don't have to if I don't want to. I can just teleport, I guess. Okay, before I do that though, I want to have a look at all the stuff I found. Strong regenerate. Might as well give that over to Charm. Blank skillbook water, same. And Burning Blaze, that seems like a powerful spell. And all these stuff that needs identifying. Maljahan gets the crafting stuff. Okay. Oh, also this needs identifying. Anything else? Yes, actually. Copper amulet, mail armor, helmet. The axe actually starts out being identified. That's interesting. It does a lot of damage. It does decrease movement fairly harshly as well, but... You see, its minimum damage is about the maximum damage my current weapon deals. So it really is fairly strong, but I lose my shield and... oh, you know what, who cares? Damn the expense, or whatever. Blinding arrow goes over here. This is for selling. High level ingredient goes to Jahan. Might as well read the books to see if I can learn anything from those. Ingredient. I want to make sure that I don't... Arrow shafts, also ingredients. That I have all my my slots filled up to the point where I Tormented Soul. Cool. Supposedly an ingredient. Interesting. Yeah, I don't want to have open slots up here, because then if I move stuff around, it would suddenly be over here, and the only place I actually check is the end of my list, if you like. So so yeah, that's why I'm trying to basically make it so that all my slots are filled up to the end. Now you have some identifying to do. I would like to show this on camera. I know it might be boring to some, but finding cool stuff sort of is a large part of the motivation of an RPG, I find. So I don't want to deprive you of that, at least, you know, the feeling of sharing that finding success with me. I apologize for that. Wow. Slight burp. If I go one higher, it'll actually improve my... What? So, I have action point 6. If I put one higher, it's... Oh, that improves my... something. I don't know. 15 intelligence is fine for the moment, I think, so... Yeah. Yeah, and it actually does improve the action points I get per turn. That's very, very good. Now let's see. This is heavy armor if I... No, it's dexterity based. Actually, no, it's not. It's strength based. So, Strange would be the only one able to use that. Same with this. This is intelligence based. Nice movement bonus. Intelligence and bodybuilding. The one I currently have is actually slightly better, I find, or at least I'll give this over to Jahan. If he wants to use it, he can. Speed +1, sneaking +1. Speed affects movement speed initiative. Okay, so this definitely goes over to Strange. Bartering +1. I usually might want to have that on Strange. Strength based. And a helmet with leadership +1. Do I have anyone who's got leadership skills? 0. 1 from gear. Okay, so if anyone could use that, it would probably be Strange. Wow, getting a lot of stuff for him here. Yeah. I think... I mean, I lose a point of speed, and I lose a point of armor specialist, but I gain a bunch of resistances, and I get a fairly nice boost to my armor level and my my movement. So that's good. Yeah, that's okay. So the other, defensive speed... sadly, I don't have anyone who's got that level of strength, so I'm afraid this is just gonna have to be sold. Yeah. Speed +1, sneaking +1, air resistance and hit points, and immunity to slow. Those are very, very good. Definitely nice to have. These boots here, I'll probably just send around, see if anyone needs them. Okay, I lose dexterity, which means... I don't mind so much losing the dexterity, but I already have bartering +1. All I get would be 15% water resistance. Which... I'll just see if anyone else has any use for that. This is just junk. And And my helmet is actually noticeably stronger, so I'll just see if anyone else has any use for that. For example here, I would lose some resistances, but so far I haven't found those to be terribly useful, so instead I'll go for the increased armor rating. Pretty sure everyone else has better shoes, right? Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much. Amulet. Bartering +1. Water resistance. What does perception do exactly? Starting action point. No, I don't want to lose that. Your helmet currently gives a bonus to sight. I don't know what exactly sight means. Sight. Determines how far you can see and how quickly you can spot enemies. Come on, I have 18.5 base value, so my gear only gives me a little over 10% bonus. I'm okay with losing that. Losing that. Wow. Those THs are not easy for non-native speakers, I tell you. Now, Jahan. I would lose some resistances. Yeah, let's just go with it. Helmet. Perception +1 and unbreakable, which I don't really care about. Perception giving me... no, I'll keep it as it is. And bartering +1 is useless, so much. Well, it's useless on him. I don't do shopping with Jahan. Okay, and let's quick save. And let's check our quest logs. The Undead Scourge. We faced and defeated King Brachus, who dropped a key. We should report back to Aureus. That's good. And Source Hunter's Journey. What started as a simple murder investigation has become bigger than we ever could have imagined. A respected healer resurrecting Source Kings. Has this town lost its mind? Okay, so Siceal? I'm not sure. Yeah, I'll just go on pronouncing it Siceal. Yeah, let's report to Aureus, I guess. I mean, he sort of is... maybe. I mean, he's not our superior or in any way, but he's somewhat in charge of defending this town, and I guess he might be interested in learning that, well, one of the major threats to the town, the undead threat, has been pretty much dealt with. We have pretty much defeated everyone who did anything nasty with the undead, or rather who, you know, the guy resurrecting them and all that. We killed every one of those. So I guess it's charm time.
My friend returns.
Okay, I guess let's discuss the undead. This cannot be, can it? You have found one of the sources of the undead and sent it back into oblivion, but that is fantastic. Yes, good work. Of course, that doesn't mean that what remains of the undead doesn't still threaten the city, so in that regard little changes for the present, but at least this gives us all some hope after 2 years of darkness. To think a crazed necromancer... Oh hey, achievement. Live undead. To think a crazed necromancer among the undead, who fancies himself a baron to boot, is all that it takes to cause such massive havoc and loss of life. But let us not forget that the living villain began it all, one looking for Brachus Rex. Inform Ahu, he must know about this.
Until we meet again.
Okay. Honestly, Sin Spare Daughter is mostly my DPS character. I'll continue pushing for DPS on her, and improve her bow skills, because why not? Yeah, and I'll equip this bow again. It is stronger, but... I should really remember to eventually use my special arrows, because, see, I've accumulated quite a few. At this point I could start selling them and make a fair amount of money, but actually money is definitely not in short supply for me. You are carrying 2 legendary and 1 unique item. Supposed to... Well, you also have 2 legendary items, so that's fair enough. Just... no one else has gotten any yet. And the only unique items you have are your starting equipment, basically. I'm still not convinced I want to keep him as a two-handed guy. Just the straight up tons of damage that the axe does has kind of convinced me for the moment. If I see I sort of lose too much defensive abilities by losing my shield, I'll just switch back. There's no one keeping me from just basically doing that whenever I feel like it, actually. I quite like that. You know, your stat and skill allocations, they, at least up to now, they appear to be permanent. I haven't found any way to respec yet, but aside from that, you know, in terms of equipment and such, you don't have to commit too heavily, I think. I can't think of any game that does force you to commit that heavily, though. I mean, it's kind of a staple of RPGs that you can switch out weapons fairly easily, but you don't have something like weapon mastery or, you know, similar to the system in Borderlands 1, where if you had been using a sniper rifle all throughout the game, you would be really good with a sniper rifle, but if you then decided to go for pistols instead, you would have to basically train up pistols, stuff like that. Doesn't appear to be the case. Well, you do spec different attributes, but, you know, you can switch from a sword to an axe or something like that. I'm not making much sense here, just ignore me, I guess, and let's talk to Aru.
Well, hello there.
So yeah, let's talk about Source Hunter business. Let's discuss the Baron of Bones and Brachus. Thundering Tomcat, never would I have suspected kindly old Thederon to be the great traitor in our midst. How misguided he was in his search for reunion with the love he lost. So misguided it drove him to unearth ancient evils that should have remained buried forever. This entire city is deeply in your debt, though undeath is just the beginning. I like the achievement names there. I cannot stress it enough. I really, really like the writing in this game. Someone must have had a great deal of creativity and hopefully a great deal of fun writing all the dialogue for this. Yeah. This entire city is deeply in your debt, Source Hunter. I suspect your mission is far from over, but know that you have done good by hundreds along the way. Okay, so let's change the subject, and do you have anything to sell that I might want? Flare, immune to freezing, purifying fire, fire shield, fire shield. This is another really cool, useful skill for the Brachus Rex fight, by the way. He does a ton of fire damage, and so does the Twins by Fire Joint. So you could focus fairly heavily on improving fire defense on your guys, and then try to focus down the ghoul that guards the Lighthouse and the Baron of Bones. Both of those don't have much in the way of fire-based attacks, but then you are left with the Twins by Fire Joint and Brachus Rex. Both of those somewhat heavily focus on fire damage, so it would be quite nice at that point then to basically have the fire shield, which, you know, it's fairly good. Requires level 10, so I couldn't have learned it beforehand. I will actually buy one copy of that. Smokescreen. Draw your own smokescreen in a line. Okay, so that just creates a smokescreen. I guess that's fairly self-explanatory, but might as well. Oh, I'm already over the limit. There we go. That wasn't difficult.
Until we meet again.
Oh wait, I actually meant to check. I don't think I have second weapon sets anywhere, so I can save my... Did I just sell my sword? I think I may have sold my sword. I may have to rebuy that. Does the buyback option still exist if I leave for a moment? Let's see.
My friend returns.
He should keep the stuff that I sell him for quite a long time. 30, 40, 58. No. think this is the one I used. Yep. And let's make sure I don't sell anything I don't want to sell. Okay, you know what? Just go with it. +1 attitude because I made him a really, really good offer.
Until we meet again.
Yeah, it just happens basically, and I think apparently it gave attitude with the entire party. So, because I offered him items that were more valuable than I was getting in return, he basically thought, oh, that's really nice. You know, you would think he'd say something like, oh my god, these guys are dumb, but apparently it's just, well, that's nice of them, you know, giving me a little extra. Now, the Source Hunter's Journey, because the Undead Scourge is now dealt with. Legionnaires will, we have to go to Silverglen for that. The Wishing Brother, I don't know, but we have to find spell guarded by King Boreas, but we can't get to there from the way we entered, so we can't go on with that, I believe. The Witch is, as we know, found in the next area as well, so yeah, I guess that's it for not for the game, of course, but that's it for this episode. I will quickly teleport to Silverglen Road, and this is where we're going to be heading next time. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the episode, and I'll see you again next time. Bye bye.